Smoking hot girl going down a water slide. Her bikini top got caught and came off. She had some very nice boobs. What is the best accidental nudity you have seen? Uo vuo, I'm so glad to see you again, viewer. If we haven't met yet, I'm Andrew, your storyteller. Since you're here, why not like the video, subscribe and ring the bell button so we don't miss any more story times together. If you don't, I'll tell your mom you spent her stimulus check on hookers. No more funny business, let's get into the stories. Saw a hot chick accidentally pull her shirt up when taking off a sweater. She wasn't wearing a bra. My life isn't very exciting. Handed the Verizon guy my phone to get it turned back on. Opened Safari and the first thing that popped up was the best pic of my boobs to date. We both just laughed it off. My dad lived a few towns over from my mom, so I didn't really know anyone in his neighborhood. I was about 13 at the time, and there was a high school girl that lived across the street from him. She'd get changed almost every night in front of her big open windows, and I watched every time I was there. At a party in HS, my best friend got hammered and passed out in the front lawn halfway through. I was hanging with my other buddy and his GF, who was also hammered, when he decided to go check on my best friend. He asked me to make sure his GF didn't do anything stupid while he was gone. She flashed me. I failed him. Female friend of mine was getting ready for her sister's wedding. She was sending me snaps of herself asking questions like necklace or no to me and her boyfriend. And she accidentally sent me a picture of her tits hanging out in the dress she was wearing. Edit. Trust me, she did not intend on sending me that pic. 10 out of 10. I was in London, and my sister and I got last-minute tickets to see Patrick Stewart in A Life in the theater. We had amazing seats, third or fourth row center. So at one point during the play, Patrick Stewart sits down on a folding chair, right in the center, in front of us. He was wearing loose shorts. And his ducking balls were showing through the shorts. They were huge. It was glorious and incredibly awkward at the same time. The whole scene, he's just balls out. I still can't look at him without thinking, dude, I saw your balls. When I was in 3rd grade, we had a really pretty, redheaded student teacher. I can't remember her name, but I remember she was teaching us French for some reason. Apparently she spoke it really well. I'm not sure why that'd be part of the 3rd grade experience. One day she came over to help me at my desk with something and leaned on my desk and bent over. For whatever reason, she decided not to wear a bra that day, and right in front of my face, swinging in her dress, were the biggest boobs I had seen up to that point. It was glorious. I truly believe that event changed me and set the type of women I've been into ever since. It was certainly a formative experience. Around 16 at the time, I left my house after my sister and her 2 friends came over, one of which is just absolutely banging with an amazing body that I may have thought about once or twice. Anyway, nobody else was home. Forgot something in my room, so I ran back in, but I guess nobody heard me come in. I walked down the hallway to my room and past my sister's doorway that was open. I glance over and my brain locks me into place mid-stride. Jaw hits the floor while it burns the image of her butt naked cupping her breasts. They all look over at me and scream. I can't look away. She runs toward me and closes the door. I ran to my room, took a few minutes to savor what I saw, and left. Edit. They're all 3 years older and my sister was not naked. I install security alarms, cameras, sensors, locks. On one install I placed a camera in the master bedroom like the husband had asked. While I was still there installing, I was checking the cameras and finishing up the tests, and the wife came out of the bathroom completely naked from the shower. I hastily tried to exit the screen, but the husband, who was peering over my shoulder, told me not to and just stared at his naked wife while I was in between him and the screen. Edit. I did not have sex with either of them. I was at my friend's beach house when I was 16. He had a really hot sister that was about 20 at the time. We were watching TV in the living room, and she came in to hang out with us wearing a t-shirt and loose-fitting boy shorts. Looked more like boxers, to be honest. She sat near me and put her legs up in such a way that I had a marvelous view of her lady parts through the baggy leg of the shorts. I tried not to stare, but it was pretty cool when I was 16. Walking to school on a soggy morning, I saw my art teacher in her minivan changing her clothes. Normally, you can't really see into the side passenger area windows well because they were semi-tinted a deeper color. But it just stopped raining a bit earlier, and the sun came through the clouds and shined down on the car, lighting it and the area in general up very bright, and I could see right into the car window. Mind you, my art teacher was 29 at the time, fit and moderately attractive. Full on boobies. I was 14, in 9th grade. Probably one of the best days at school followed thereafter. Watched our 19-year-old neighbor and her two friends hop over the big stone fence in our backyard and promptly shed all of their clothes to put on bathing suits and swim in our pool while my family was out of town. Guess they didn't know I was there playing Warcraft 3 instead of on vacation. Edit. I never said anything or told her and really didn't leave the house my room that whole week, so they probably never even suspected. I was 14 at the time, a sophomore in high school. She had been a senior at my school when I was a freshman. She graduated and was then going to a big state university in our city. There's an outdoor shower near the pool too, and I heard them using it later that night, but couldn't get up to look as Frozen Throne PvP was just too important. Edit 2. Yes, I skipped a grade in middle school. I don't recommend doing it, being younger during high school and university wasn't that great. Work at a hotel on the beach. Usually, every night before I leave I take a walk around the building, just make sure everything is okay, people are quiet, etc. All of our rooms have balconies, but luckily the way our building is set up you can't see into another balcony from another balcony. Earlier that day I had a newlywed couple checking in. All went normal then. Later that night, I did my rounds, and I saw them on their balcony. He's leaning up against a patio chair turned backwards, pants pulled down, and she's sitting on the chair, giving him head. Okay, for all purposes that's technically an evictable offense, but I just remembered they're a newlywed couple. No one else can see them on their balcony the way our building is configured, so I just turned around, walked back inside, and let it be. At least I know their marriage got off to a good start, hopefully it stayed that way. As a kid, I always went to summer camp in a different state, and we would often take multi-day canoe trips around the general area. On one of these trips, after a long day of paddling down a river, the trip leader decided to stop on an island and set up camp for the night. As the day progressed, the sunshine turned to rain and before we knew it, it was a full-on monsoon. As me and a bunch of other boys huddled under a tarp, someone pointed out two people swimming on the other side of the river. We notice it's two guys and a girl and continue to watch. Before we know it, the girl stands up revealing that she is actually completely nude. In fact, all three were skinny dipping. Being teenage boys, we began to yell and wave at them, asking if they would like any s'mores, while taking turns looking through the binoculars. We thought they would be embarrassed, however, they weren't fazed by this, and one of the dudes began to swim over. I will never forget his face as he got closer and realized we were a bunch of little kids. Needless to say, we gave him a s'more. Maybe not accidental, per se, but definitely unexpected. In April of 1999, when I was in 6th grade, my entire class had a massive field trip to Yellowstone National Park. It was part of a program called Expedition Yellowstone and it, I believe, was funded in part by grants of some sort. Anyway, my small school in the rural South got to send the entire 6th grade, about 50 students, to Yellowstone every year for like 5 or 6 years, and I got to go. We traveled by charter bus, thankfully, as opposed to school bus for the 36-plus-hour road trip, stopping for fast food, usually McDonald's, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner during the trip. We had stopped in Lincoln, Nebraska at a strip mall, where some of the out parcels were fast food restaurants. We all went into whichever fast food joint we wanted, there were a couple to choose from, with our designated chaperones, ate, and came back out to the bus. Now, this particular strip mall where the McDonald's was located was also home to a bar called Critters. We were sitting on the bus waiting for the rest of the group to come out and reboard so we could leave when a couple of well-endowed young women come out of the bar towards another charter bus, which was also sitting in the parking lot. I can only assume that they got the two buses confused, or they thought our bus was full of their friends, or were just drunk. It was still daylight BTW. I don't know. But these two young women decided to raise their shirts and flash our bus full of 6th graders. It wasn't just a brief flash either. No, this was a lift your shirt and shake dem titties kind of flash that you would normally see in a Girls Gone Wild video. Chaos ensues on our bus. Teachers, chaperones, counselors, parents, and probably even the bus driver as well, were all running and diving into the aisles of the bus, trying frantically and unsuccessfully to cover the eyes of all these innocent 12-year-olds, but we were having none of it. It was the highlight of the trip, and we were barely halfway there on a 2-week-long expedition. This includes our bus getting trapped in a whiteout blizzard in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming on the way back, limping back to the closest town, and sleeping on the floor in the high school gymnasium. Next came the jokes, which you'd expect from a bunch of pre-adolescent kids, the Grand Tit Tons, the Twin Peaks, etc. It was awesome, and I dare say it was a seminal moment for many of us. Our high school graduating class recently had our 10-year reunion a couple years ago, and this story was retold more than once.
Like and subscribe for more funny, interesting, and scary r/ask Reddit videos.